You want to know why men need a woman to help them heal? Well, that is exactly what we are discussing this week at Presidential Lifestyle. And I want to share it with you. I want to share the discussion with you here on this Mental Health Monday meeting. Now I realize it's Tuesday and you're watching this. And I'll tell you why I'm recording the Mental Health Monday meeting on Tuesday later on in this video. In the meantime, let me introduce myself. Just in case you don't know me, I am Kanae Porter, CEO of Presidential Lifestyle and the co-founder of the Clarity System. It's an employee engagement and mental health platform designed to sync the entire team so you can bring your company vision to life. Welcome to the Mental Health Monday meeting. Now, you might be thinking, why do men need a woman to help them heal? Maybe you never even thought that before. Maybe this was the first time, and I am planting a seed, which is totally fine. I am usually planting a seed. I also want to point two things out. One, I have notes because there's a lot to share, and I'm reading these notes. So if you see me glancing over, that is what I am doing. I still am here with you. Let's connect. Second thing I want to point out is that this video is geared towards an individual person. And at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you why this whole channel is about to shift. And instead of talking to an individual, like as a therapist, I would be working one-on-one with a CEO. That is the way that I started my practice. Let me take that back. That is not the way I started my practice. That is the way I grew my practice. I started my practice differently. I'll tell you that story later, not in this video. But then once I became clear on my vision, then I grew my practice working with CEOs. But I realized that there was a shift that needed to be made, and that is that CEOs are doing their best, but they need help. They need a teammate, an ally, someone to collaborate with them, a partner to help them to guide their whole team. They can't do it on their own. And that's where me and my team come in. So here in Presidential Lifestyle, what we are discussing this week, and this is our last week, talking to individual CEOs. From here on out, we will be talking to the whole team, but really we're focusing on the leadership team because the leadership team's job is to make the CEO's job easier. But let me explain, the CEO's job is to make the leadership team easier to make their job easier. Did you get all that? The leadership team's job is to make the CEO's job easier. The CEO's job is to make the leadership team easier. It's a full circle. Sync. Get it? I knew you'd get it. So let's keep going. So as we discussed over the last couple weeks, men are taught at a very early age that emotions are not okay, and that is why they have such a hard time expressing their emotions. But there are these three emotions that society kind of lets them feel, but then if they feel them too much, then they penalize them for it. And those three emotions we talked about last week: anger, lust, and greed. And anger, lust, and greed feels so good to a man because he feels like he's getting his emotions out. But then what he realizes later, not immediately, is that, wait, I actually wasn't angry. Anger is a secondary emotion. I was disappointed. I was abandoned. I felt betrayed. But then that triggered the anger because I wasn't allowed to feel helpless. I wasn't allowed to feel hopeless. I wasn't allowed to feel alone. So instead of feeling alone, I felt lust. And that was okay because that is what I was taught at a very young age. Watch last week's video for more details on that. I'm moving on. Come with me. Now, there's also this thing that men are not allowed to feel fear, right? You got to be brave. There's all the movies about being brave and conquerors and gladiators and all of that. And that is just untrue. You can feel fear and do the thing anyway, like building a business. Do you think that a man, as he's building his business, a woman too, but we're talking about men today, You think a man has no fear when it comes to building his business? This is the scariest thing any human being can put themselves through. Building a business is so incredibly, it's just so many fears that go into it. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of being betrayed, fear of missing out on something else. You know how much fun you miss out on when you decide to build your business? No, you do not. You don't. Because you may not be building a business. You may be working with someone who is building a business. So you didn't have to fear that. Your fear is different. You might be feeling the fear of, what if this is the wrong person? What if I got on the wrong team? We will talk about that in a couple of weeks, I promise. But right now, let's keep talking about why men need a woman to heal. I wanted to recap a little bit because just in case this is your first time watching this video. So let me explain that men are not allowed to feel fear, disappointment, sadness, etc., all those other feelings. And therefore, they are not familiar with the feelings that they are feeling. They're having them, but they're not familiar with how to articulate them enough to be successful in relationships. And when I say relationships, I mean friendships, I mean romantic, I mean even parenting. It can make it even difficult for parenting. So sometimes, even in business, you need to have a certain amount of emotion. Now, you may be thinking, I'm a woman and I experienced this too. Well, that is probably because as a woman building a business, you had to take on a very masculine persona, which then you have to put all your emotions aside and only feel greed, lust, and anger, and only go towards the bottom line, or only go towards that. Even, and sometimes it is the lust. So because you are taught at a very early age, Ben, that these things were not okay, and then you were taught to feel only these three emotions, and then you became penalized for those three emotions, and then you decided, well, shoot, I better do those emotions, the greed, the lust, the anger, kind of like in the darkness or in secret. And then when you're doing them in secret, that only leads to more depression, which you can't show that either, right? So then that and loneliness, and then that comes out as anger, and you can only hold it down for so long, and then it just erupts, and then everybody feels it, and you have this like midlife crisis, and it's just not a great feeling. So lastly, just a little bit of recap. There are so many programs running in our brains, male and female. We have these programs running in our brains that have convinced us that we are either right or wrong for feeling these emotions. And the people in our lives, sometimes we make them wrong for feeling what they're feeling so that we can justify our feeling. Now, that's really deep. And I'm just going to leave us right there, because most of that stuff that I just talked about, we unpack that in the program. It's way too much for a YouTube video or LinkedIn video, wherever you're watching this video. So the challenge that you then experience, let's talk about that now. I am challenge that you experience. Though their focus is on being strong when you are a man, being strong, because that is what you're taught is manly. And when that happens, it manifests in going to the gym and enduring a lot of aches and pains, maybe even creating situations for yourself to show that you are strong. It might even show up as disease in your body. Sometimes men choose the harder route so that they can prove that they're strong, when they could have just taken the easy path. What's wrong with that? Society teaches us that the easy path is weak. I say the easy path is easy, and that's okay. It is totally fine. So this imaginary strength that may give themselves because they took the hard path, or they created the disease or the pain in their body, and they be able to endure it for so long. This imaginary strength comes out even when they think they are holding it in. And they end up imposing that and almost feeling like they have what's the word? Like, uh, what is the word I'm looking for? The word is like they got this reward, right? They like earned it. Oh my God, it's such a simple word. Why can't it come to my brain? They earned this reward because they went through all of these challenges. And you need to understand that they have earned this reward. But not everybody understands the pain that they put themselves through. We're like, hey, you didn't even have to do all of that because I would have loved you anyway. And but they don't know that they would have been loved anyway or followed in down this path anyway. They believe that the only reason you're there is because of how much of a man they are. And the challenging part about this is they hurt a lot of people along the way to getting to the healing they need. Before they ever realize they need healing, a lot of people get hurt. They hurt the people they love the most. And eventually, when they get tired of hurting people or they see all the pain or enough people leave them because they don't want to be hurt by them anymore, they seek healing. Now, here's another challenge or problem is for many men, they need to hit rock bottom. Like everybody has to be gone. They have had to take all the hard paths. There are no more hard paths to take. Maybe they need a breaking point, right? A catastrophic event to get them to heal, to see that they need the healing. And that might mean something like their mother cutting them off, their wife asking for a divorce, their children saying they will not talk to them anymore. There has to be this catastrophic event, or maybe someone gets sick and they're like, "Oh shoot, I don't want to lose this connection," and so they find a way to connect. So the good thing about men when they decide to heal or go to therapy or get into any kind of program, they are usually 100% ready and all in. And it is a beautiful thing to watch. And they do whatever it freaking takes, no matter freaking what, in order to heal. They say to me very often, "Okay, doc, what's next?" And I'm not even a doctor, but that's how they refer to it. It's like, "Tell me what to do, doc, and I will do it." But that is only after they have hit rock bottom or gotten to their breaking point. If they don't seek healing. They don't even want to know. And this is why Men's Health Month, Mental Health Month for us exists, because they would even go to the doctor to find out what that pain was if it wasn't for the fact that they either hit rock bottom, they can't do the thing they want to do, whether it's have sex or play with their grandchildren or whatever it is. That is the catalyst. But why does it have to get that hard? Because of the program, because they have been programmed. They're supposed to endure this, even if they don't even know. Whether you know it or not, the program running in your brain is running you. Did you hear me? Whether you know it or not, the program running in your brain is running you. So we got about 10 more minutes of this teaching going. And at the end, I'm going to give you a couple steps you can take to begin your healing process if you're ready. Because like I said, when men are ready, they move 100%. Because men are often hurt by a woman very early in their life. And so they build up this like distrust, I guess, for a woman. But eventually they get back to that trust and they realize, I need somebody to guide me. And they're not going to go to a male to get that guidance. They're going to go back to their mother, to their wife, maybe even their daughter. They might go to a female friend, a doctor. And it's because that nurturing they need. And that's why the feminine energy is so important. And women, you can't go off and heal on your own. Now, maybe you're so hurt that you need healing in order to help him heal. You can't heal. You can't help him heal before you have. And I think that there's this self-righteousness in women that if you have endured a lot of hurt, then you feel that you've earned the right to force him to go heal without you healing. And it's just not true. If he has hurt you, then you have healing to do, and you need to go do that. Now, keep in mind, people are bringing all of this to work. This is not staying home with them. They're bringing all of this to work, from CEO to leadership team to contributing team. All of this is coming into the office, including the remote office, the virtual office. And all of this energy is hurt energy floating around. You think people aren't hurting each other? Of course they are. So how do you get them to stop? You need a program that allows them to make healing almost fun, because there's this idea that healing has to hurt because of the programs that we've heard. Now, let me ask you some of these programs. Have you heard things like, you got to let a man be a man? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. He'll never change. Once a dog, always a dog. All men are the same. Oh, men are simple. Oh, all men need is a remote, food, and sex. Heard any of those? Okay, what else have you heard? Put it in the chat. If I didn't name the thing you heard that got you to believe what you believe about men, and why you, if you're a man listening, why you're like, oh, I don't need healing. I'll never change. So why do you feel like you don't need healing? And if you're a woman, listen to this. You feel like it's useless, no sense in trying to get him to do the change thing. I'm done, I'm out. What did you hear? Put it in the comments, please. I'm curious to know. I just named a few. I want to hear what else you know. And then I'm going to share with you, as you put those in the comments, I'm going to share with you some statements that begin to confuse. Those are the statements that begin to confuse men and women, but I want to share with you the internal things that happen as those statements are confusing us and programming us. So as those are confusing us and programming us, what happens then is these internal factors. So those were the external factors. Internally, men and women began to believe that, so men begin to feel inadequate, and women begin to feel that they are inadequate. That man is inadequate. He can't lead me. He can't love me. The feeling, they begin to feel like a fraud. They began to feel like a failure. They begin to feel the fear that they won't be loved if they are weak or vulnerable. They believe that they will hurt people. They just like, oh, that's all I do is hurt people. And they have the fear that they'll be alone because of it. They think the gym or an Ironman competition is the way to snap them out of this. And so they try to take that aggression and that anger and all of that out on a punching bag or, on the weights. But that's just not enough. And it could come out in swimming or cycling or all these things. And yeah, that can help. That can be therapeutic, but it's not therapy. You heard me? Yeah, all those things, walking, gym, running, biking, boxing, is not therapy. But it can be therapeutic, which can help you get to the calm, optimal brain state you need to be in order to seek therapy. But a very big catalyst to doing that is believing that you will lose the woman you love, whether it is a daughter, a wife, a mother, or even a spiritual guide. And usually the spiritual guide comes in when you're ready. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And if this is your first time watching a video of mine, just saying. So there's these are what I call lack emotions. And those lack emotions are that healing hurts, so they don't want to go towards it. But healing can be fun. It can be exciting. Look how fun this video has been. And you're thinking, wasn't that fun? Yes, it was. Tell the truth. You picked up a couple of little jokes. But just imagine if we got to work together in a group. You just see even more of me. Right now, my team and I, we are designing a program that makes healing fun, makes it highly sought after, makes it easily accessible. And we make it so that it's masculine and feminine, so that healing is not just for women. It is not, because if only women are healing, then there's nobody to continue this world with the women who are healed. And if only women are healing, at some point they're going to stop healing because they nobody's going with them. So that's going to last only so long, and it's going to run out. So they will never make a woman happy is one of the things that that's another lack emotion that men feel. And when they feel like they really believe that it is up to them to just exist and not really focus on the woman. But once they get past that and they realize, oh, I just have to heal in order to and that make a woman happy. Now we'll talk about that later because nobody makes another person happy. We're all responsible for our own happiness. We're all responsible for our own healing, even though it is not our fault how we got here. So I want to give you a little step-by-step process. And this step-by-step process, whether you're a man or a woman, you can use it. And the first step I want you to do to move towards healing is to notice when you are triggered. Just notice. Just notice when you're triggered. And then I want you to name the feeling you are experiencing. Because if you name it, you can tame it. Just name it. It might be frustration. It might be hopelessness. It might be despair. It might be abandonment. You might feel all kinds of feelings. So name it. Name the feeling you're feeling. And then I want you to decide how you'd like to feel. We call that intention. Set an intention for how you'd like to feel. Now, the steps after that, it's much better and much easier to do it with a guide. You might be able to do it on your own, which is why we have the recorded versions. But that's still with a guide. It's just not a live guide. And so my suggestion to you is to just first get those first three, because that is what gets you to the place where you get out of the pre-contemplation stage of healing and really get into the action stage of healing. So that is where you are. Then I invite you to connect your remote team with our team. Now, like I said, this is our very last individual video. We're going to take a couple weeks break, and when we come back, we'll be talking specifically and directly to the leadership team, giving the leadership team tools that they can share with their CEO as well as their contributing team, because they kind of play that middle. They're the liaison between the CEO and the contributing team, and the link. They are the link that helps the whole company sync. Just love how that sounds. Kind of rhymes, yeah. So know that if you are interested, then you can do a demo with us if you go to trysynclarity.com. But if you just want a little bit more information, you're listening to this, you're not quite ready, or you're not a company, then just see what we're about. Maybe you want to share this with somebody you know and love. Maybe you know a company that you like. Maybe you work with a company, you work at a company that you'd like to introduce this to them. Send it to your leadership, your management, and at least start the process. You don't know what's going to happen. It doesn't even matter. Don't be fearful. Just do it, because healing is important for you and the rest of your team. Just think about how much more fun, how much more enjoyable, how much more rewarding work could be if you and your whole team were healed. Would that be good or good? I know, right? So let's stop right there. This has been so much fun. Thanks for hanging out with me. I told you I was going to tell you why, and I kind of mixed that up in there. I did tell you why we are moving to a more corporate, because our mission, our vision is to give every human being, the sense of clarity and purpose in life. And we want to alleviate human suffering associated with mental health. And our mission, the way that we're going to do that, is to bring mental health into the workplace. We were doing it on an individual level, but that would take a really long time for us to heal the world. And a much better way to do that quickly is to do it in the workplace. Teach what I know to other therapists, allow them to share it one company at a time, and then everyone can share it with their families. And then the world is healed. Now, that was a short version. I'll walk you through it. In a couple of weeks, we'll be back Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Well, if you go anywhere, go to our website. Go ahead and schedule a demo. If you don't want a demo, just join our mailing list so you can determine how to get from where you are to where you want to be. And you'll also learn how you even got there so you never have to go there again. We'll help you get on the path to prosperity because that's where we are. We're on our path to prosperity. It doesn't have to be lonely at the top. You can take people with you, and we are taking you with us. So we will see you in a couple weeks. Come back often. Stay with us. Watch the videos we've recorded all this year. They're here for you, and we will see you sooner.